In our new Simulix interface, it is possible to import a project directly from Monolix in order to reuse elements from the Monolix project, such as the model or the parameter values, for further simulations. Here is a Monolix project for simple PKPD modeling of warfarin. You can import this project into Simulix either by clicking on the button here in the opening page or by opening the menu Project, New Project from Monolix. I will import here the PKPD project. This automatically imports all elements from the Monolix project in the Definition tab. This tab gathers all elements needed for simulating the model, such as the model itself, its parameters, the treatment, the outputs, while the Simulation tab enables to choose some of these elements for simulation. Simulix gathers all the elements of the model in a single tab. The structural part of the model that appears in the Structural Model tab in Monolix is imported to the longitudinal section of the model in Simulix. The Statistical Model tab in Monolix first describes the observation model, which links the predictions to the observations with a given error model. This part is imported as MLXtran formatted code in Simulix in the end of the longitudinal section. The statistical model in Monolix also includes the distribution of parameters across individuals and occasions, and this is also imported in Simulix as MLXtran formatted code in the individual section of the model. Several elements have also been imported from the dataset, in case you would like to simulate a population with the same design. If the data of the Monolix project includes several occasions, as our project does, they are listed in the Occasions tab in Simulix. The population parameters that were estimated with the original dataset in Monolix appear in the tab Population Parameters. Choosing these population parameters in the Simulation tab will make Simulix sample individuals from the distribution defined by the population parameters. It is also possible to choose instead a defined list of individuals. These lists are defined in the Individual Parameter tab and include several options. The first one is a single individual representing the population, which means that the parameters are calculated from the population parameters without any covariate and random effects. The second option is to use a list of individuals, as many as in the original dataset, with parameters equal to the population typical value plus the covariate effect. In our project, we decided to add an explicit covariate effect of the transformed weight on V and CL. Therefore here, V and CL vary according to the weight value given from the original data. The third option is given by the mean of the individual conditional distributions, if they have been computed in Monolix, as it was the case here. It is also possible to use simply the empirical bias estimates, which correspond to the mode of the conditional distributions, or a sample from the conditional distribution. The Covariates tab will show covariates, if some covariate effects are included in the statistical model of the Monolix project, as you saw that it's the case here. And there are two possibilities for simulating the covariate values. They can be taken from the original data, and this is what will be simulated by default, or they can be drawn from a distribution with similar mean and standard deviation as the original data. In the Treatment tab, a treatment is already defined, which directly comes from the original data. In the Output tab, by default, observation times are imported from the data for each of the observations, in our case Y1 and Y2. The simulated observations correspond to the predictions plus an error term. For the predictions, in our case CC and R, a regular time step is calculated to generate a 250 points output spanning the time frame of the dataset. If the Monolix project uses a regressor, it is also defined as an element in the Regressors tab. So let me now summarize the default elements used in the Simulation tab when a project is imported from Monolix. By default, Simulix will reproduce the original study with the same number of individuals, whose parameters are drawn from the distribution defined by population parameters, which were obtained by SAEM in Monolix. The same treatment will be used as in the original study. The same outputs will be measured at the same time points, and covariates and regressors are defined exactly as in the original data. If I now save this project as a new Simulix project and run the simulation, I obtain a simulated dataset which is very similar to the original one, but the drawn individual parameters are different, as well as the residual errors. The Simulix project that I just saved is independent from the Monolix project, and all the information needed to simulate it is saved in a result folder next to the Simulix project. To avoid conflicts with the folder containing the Monolix results, we advise you to save your Simulix project with a different name than the Monolix project. More details on how to create new designs, simulate replicates, several simulation groups, and how to define outcomes will come in later videos. Have fun importing your Monolix project into Simulix, and see you next week!